master of the oceans, has taken over these peaceful waters. This gorgeous coastline is now home to great white sharks.
There's a white shark right there.
Unbelievable.
The locals have to deal with their new neighbors.
When I turned around and I saw his head out of the water thrashing my fin, I immediately knew it was a great white.
I don't think I'd want to be swimming around out here with these size sharks around.
We've had to create some new procedures to try and keep everybody safe. There's a shark fin right over there.
The question is, why?
Some of this activity that we're seeing here very well could be related to global climate change.
Researchers head out on the water. They want to tag these great whites to find out why they're here and how long they may stay.
I can't believe how close they're coming.
Back the other way.
There he goes, there he goes.
Got it.
We're going just a few feet offshore and into the shark zone.
On this glittering stretch of Southern California beach, you'll find multi-million-dollar homes with movie stars inside. But now you'll find a new neighbor, great white sharks.
Santa Barbara, California. Just offshore, there's a new arrival. The apex predator, top of the food chain, the most feared creature in the ocean. Great white sharks have always hunted the California coast, especially up north. The waters in the area, called the Red Triangle, are infamous for white shark activity. Southern California has its share of white sharks as well, and the numbers seem to be growing, as are the close encounters with people.
We have 3 great white sharks are seen swimming fairly close to shore.
Please be advised that this area is heavily populated at the moment with large great white sharks.
Shark sighted. Enter the water at your own risk.
Hard to believe this man's chest was inside the jaws of a 7-foot great white shark.
Over the last decade, there has been an average of 46 shark attacks per year in the U.S. About 10% of those happen in California. Now they've come to Santa Barbara, a place where white sharks have never really congregated in large numbers. These sharks are juveniles, up to 6 years of age.
So we know a lot about the babies, we know a lot about the adults, but the tweeners, we don't know anything about.
Young and curious, they come just a few feet off the shore and approach all manner of watercraft. These sharks are not yet the kings of the ocean. They will be when they grow to full size, but they are still a risk here. Tyler McQuillan, a local spearfisherman, found that out.
I spot a bat ray, and it takes off, and I thought to myself, that's kind of odd.
Seconds later, McQuillan is attacked from behind.
When I got a hold of my fin, really got a hold of it, and it tore it off. It got 2 of my toes and broke one of them in 2 places.
But the shark wasn't finished.
I couldn't move my spear gun fast enough from here to there in order to defend myself from the shark, so I just put out my arm, hoping that he was going to grab my arm instead of my body, but I ended up stiff-arming him.
Thinking quickly, McQuillan takes the offensive and rams the shark with his spear gun. With the shark stunned, Tyler swims away as fast as he can, shouting warnings to everyone in the water. Tyler was lucky his injuries weren't more severe, but he nearly lost his toe.
Yeah, it's very bacterial because they're biting into bat rays and seals, and they don't brush their teeth.
I'm on video!
Larger white sharks tend to keep moving in search of their prey, but these younger sharks are hanging out in one place, showing no signs of wanting to leave. The question on everyone's mind, from scientists to surfers, is why are the sharks here? And is this the new normal for Santa Barbara? There are several potential explanations. The first one is climate related.
There's no doubt we're seeing a major change within our local marine ecosystem here.
Ocean temperature is like an invisible boundary that defines who can live where in the ocean. So this last year here, for example, off the West Coast, we experienced a large El Nino event, and that brought warmer than normal water conditions up into the area.
El Nino effects are a regular part of the Pacific cycle. But a second phenomenon mixed with El Nino, resulting in very noticeable changes. An area of warmer than usual ocean temperatures, simply known as the blob.
It's a really unusual phenomena that occurred off our coast in the last 4 years. It basically came off the west coast of North America and it displaced the currents, the cold California currents, and it went all the way up off the coast of Washington.
Ordinarily, surface water is cooled by winds, kind of like blowing on a hot cup of coffee. The warm water is pushed away and the cool water upwells from the deep. But the blob persisted, thanks to reduced wind speeds.
So maybe a slackening of a trade wind or some sort of a wind current, or there shifts in the jet stream, some sort of slackening occurred and this warm water intrusion worked its way up the west coast.
These two systems, plus more general warming of the planet, is causing an upheaval in the food chain.
It affected everything from productivity in the plankton to where fish go, and then ultimately the apex predators are affected because the food sources they depended on were no longer in the area.
One outcome, species showing up in unusual places. That could include young white sharks in great numbers off Santa Barbara. Buoys there have recorded sharp rises in surface temperatures since 2010. At one spot, rising an astonishing 6 degrees and spiking in the summertime at 72 degrees Fahrenheit. These juvenile sharks could just be lingering in comfortable waters, but will they leave this cozy bath? And where will they go when they do? Dr. Chris Lowe runs the Shark Lab at California State University at Long Beach. He has been tagging great whites in Southern California for over a decade. Now, for the first time, he's going to tag white sharks here in Santa Barbara.
So what are some of the mysteries that you want to solve with this tagging program?
When they come to a beach like this, how long are they there? And trust me, the lifeguards and the public want to know that too. So using this technology, we can answer those questions.
There were a lot of people who wanted to come out with us just to see the sharks. These included marine researchers and a guy you might know, legendary musician Michael McDonald.
I've surfed up and down this stretch of coast for 30 years or more. And I think our awareness of sharks has risen in the area here.
With everything in place, they head out into the shark zone. Once there, the tagging operation begins. A spotter drone is launched, and the hunt is on.
You have a shark? I see it. Oh yeah, I got them both.
So just got word from the trawler. They have one right off the stern. It's right underneath the drone.
Still don't have visual.
These sharks may be young, but they are learning quickly. Tagging the cunning creatures is no easy task.
I still don't have visual yet. Nice and easy, Mike. The glare is real bad. Right here, about 15 feet. He's heading in that direction.
The pressure is mounting. Dr. Lowe is experienced, but the sharks do not make this easy.
Okay, dead ahead, dead ahead. 3, it's at your 3, it's at your 3. He is going out of my vision. Lost him.
The once placid waters off Santa Barbara, California have now become a shark zone. Large numbers of juvenile great whites are spending their summers just offshore. Marine biologist Dr. Chris Lowe is trying to tag the sharks to get an idea of their behavior and their movements.
So we got a pretty hefty operation here, the 20-foot boat with Chris Lowe on it, but we don't know where the sharks are, so we got the 40-foot boat launching a drone on top of us. You can see where the sharks are. They direct us 10 feet off the bow, 10 feet off the stern. They'll tell us exactly where it is. We got a shark right here, right now.
But once again, the shark senses something, and he disappears from view.
That's what we always tell people. If you see a shark and you lose it, the first place you should look is behind you.
But then, Lowe's experienced eyes spot it.
That's a shark right there. There's a shark right there. It's not a bird. That is a white shark.
I can't believe how close we are to the shore. We are right off of these multi-million-dollar homes right here in the Santa Barbara coast. And these sharks are swarming all around here. Right there, right there, right there. Right there, there's his fin.
So nice and easy, Mike. Nice and easy. Even if you have to go to neutral, pop it in and out. Nice and easy. We're doing good, perfect. Nice and easy, no banging. Right over here. That's about an 8-footer, 9-footer. Down this way, keep coming around. And she's down.
As the shark appears and disappears, every eye on board strains for a sighting.
Right there, right there, right there. Right there.
Yeah, they're
right
deep.
Here, right here, right here. Around, coming towards the surface.
Okay, which way?
Dead ahead, dead ahead.
Direction?
Slow down, slow down.
Get it?
Yep.
Success at last.
That's the first shark we've tagged here in Santa Barbara.
I know you're talking to me, but we've got a great white shark right here, right next to you. That is not normal for me during an interview to have a great white shark with its fin out of the water.
Yeah.
Like something out of a movie.
So, you know, this is the new normal. This is it.
Why is that?
Well, because for 100 years they've been gone. We fished them out, we got rid of all their prey. Their populations have probably been down for over 100 years. And now, because of protection 20 years ago and recovery of their food, they've come back.
He's still right there. I can see him under the water.
There's the tag right there at the base of the dorsal fin. Right, there's the tip of the dorsal fin. You see the transmitter right beneath that? You can see how affected they are by the tag.
He didn't even feel it.
No, no, this is like an earring, you know, so they don't even flinch.
Those earrings are actually sophisticated acoustic tags. They ping out a signal, a sound that can be tracked by researchers like Dr. Lowe and used to capture the shark's positioning data.
So the acoustic transmitters that we're using last much, much longer and give us a more accurate idea of where the shark is, especially when they're close to the shoreline.
Then they can plot the shark's movements along the coastline. Another way Dr. Lowe and the Shark Lab keep tabs on local white sharks is to use underwater remote cameras.
So we mount 2 cameras on a PVC pole pointing in opposite directions. And that enables us to see sharks maybe coming and going as they move back and forth along that coastline.
Divers actually swim down through the murky water about 10 feet and place the cameras right there on the seafloor. And then they wait for the sharks to swim by and take their own selfies. Back at the Shark Lab, staffers work to identify the sharks that swim past the cameras.
From the videos, you can see up close that they have very different patterns. Some have, scars or chunks taken out of their fins, for example.
Every shark's dorsal fin and tail markings are unique, like fingerprints. The lab now has visual IDs on dozens of local great whites.
It's very exciting that right here in Santa Barbara or Southern California, we see those sharks coming and we have the ability to witness them and being able to report to the public the importance that they play in our life.
Jean-Michel Cousteau is the son of legendary ocean explorer Jacques Cousteau. It's a different ocean from the one his father jumped into.
Climate change is a reality. We, our team, have seen a lot of changes taking place. And it's not just the weather, it's the water temperature, it's the currents, it's the fact that we're taking more from the ocean than the ocean can produce, including sharks, by the way. Well, we need to control and stabilize our emission of CO2.
Yeah.
The emission of CO2 is responsible for the increase of water temperature, the acidification of the ocean.
Because the ocean takes in CO2.
Most of it.
It breathes it in.
That's right.
How much the increased carbon dioxide in the water affects white sharks is unknown, but getting more information about their movements is critical to understanding how the changing oceans affect their behavior. That's why tagging is crucial, and Dr. Lowe has another white shark in his sights.
Nice and easy.
Wow.
Just out of reach. Yeah, that's about 10 feet. That's a little bit bigger.
But Dr. Lowe isn't ready to give up. The tag boat circles around for another try.
Yeah, I see the fin. I see the whole body.
Dead off the bow, dead off the bow. Nice and easy. Got it.
Got him?
Got him. After numerous tries, they finally tagged 2 sharks. There are many more sharks out there, and just as many mysteries about them. Coming up, for these white sharks, the battle for survival begins before they're even born.
It's survival.
They cannibalize each other?
Absolutely.
They're brothers and sisters.
Absolutely.
The Pacific Ocean off Santa Barbara, California has turned into a playground for young great white sharks, a new habitat that suddenly is overflowing.
Got it.
Got him?
Got him. More clues to why they are here can be found out of the water. We headed to an aquarium, the Santa Barbara Sea Center, for more information.
Yeah, this is about as close as I want to come face-to-face cage diving with a great white.
For many years, the only method for scientists to know anything about white sharks was to observe them through cages. As a result, very little was understood about them. In the last few years, however, developing technology, including tagging, has allowed researchers to get a better grip on shark behavior.
It tells us where they're going, what they're doing, and it gives us an idea for the future of not only how we can help conserve them, knowing where they're going to be, but it also helps us to inform the public and what they need to do to protect themselves, because occasionally there is an interaction between a white shark and a human.
For example, all white sharks were once thought to be just coastal dwellers that stayed in relatively shallow water. But tagging operations revealed that some white sharks can swim for thousands of miles and plunge deep into the abyss. It turns out that the great white is incredibly adaptable, capable of hunting anywhere in all conditions. Which makes sense given that sharks are some of the oldest, most successful animals on Earth. The earliest sharks appeared some 200 million years before the dinosaurs, meaning they've lived through countless global warmings and coolings. Inside the Sea Center, we learn the ability to survive just about everything begins before the shark is born.
So I've seen these on the beach, and I think that they're just kelp or something. What is that?
Yeah, so these are a shark egg case.
Really?
They are commonly called mermaid's purses.
Some sharks lay eggs. Others give birth to live young. But these great whites, they give birth in the scariest possible way.
They actually have eggs that hatch internally inside the mother, and then there's no placenta and there's no yolk like these eggs have. So the babies actually have to eat each other. And it's survival.
They cannibalize each other?
Absolutely.
They're brothers and sisters?
Absolutely.
So there's a live horror movie playing out inside a uterus, is that what it's called? Inside the shark?
That's it.
Yeah.
It's survival of the fittest at its greatest.
The winners of that gruesome contest get to be born. The pups are vulnerable, but they have a key advantage, a very fatty liver, which provides extra energy reserves as they learn to hunt and kill.
Sharks don't have fat tissue like marine mammals, the blubber. They don't have that. They store their excess energy in their liver in the form of an oil, very heavy in lipids, which is what they can draw down on to use when they can't feed.
After a few years, however, things have changed. Juvenile sharks have burned through their oily safety net. They replenish and maintain those reserves by steadily consuming nutrients. While these young sharks may appear to be lazy and slow, great whites keep up their energy through constant movement. Swimming actually raises their body temperature and energy level, leaving well-nourished sharks capable of astonishing bursts of speed.
So even though it weighs 800, 1,000, 4,000 pounds, it weighs practically nothing in water. So when it kicks that big tail, it can propel itself instantly to tremendous speeds based on their size. I mean, 20, 25, 30 miles an hour.
It's not an overnight process. These sharks need time and safe waters to replenish. That could be another reason why so many juveniles are congregating in Santa Barbara. They're fattening up their livers in this warm, protected water. Millions and millions of years of evolution have proven that sharks will find a way. Conditions off Santa Barbara are now ripe, and the great white sharks are doing what comes naturally. Coming up, close encounters with the new neighbors.
In the summer, there's a shark. Then right over there.
Right over here? Oh my goodness.
Right there.
Yeah.
Let me go warn these guys.
And our tagging mission continues in the shark zone.
Coming up, nice and easy. You're doing good. We'll hold this course. Hold this course.
Santa Barbara, California is now a shark zone. Countless young great white sharks have taken up a residence in the surf, just a few feet offshore.
2 or 3 years ago, this was not a hot spot. So every once in a while, people would hear about a shark passing through. But this year, this summer, this seems to be a hot spot for these bigger juveniles.
Is it because of the water is warmer? Does that factor into it too?
I think temperature has a lot to do with it.
Climate change has certainly affected the entire ocean ecosystem, but conditions are just right now for these young white sharks to use this area as a safe haven.
Not yet fully grown, these young sharks are at risk of attack by even larger sharks. Santa Barbara is part of the Channel Islands Marine Sanctuary and is a good spot for young sharks to learn how to hunt and kill without worrying about becoming a meal for even bigger predators. It's another good reason for this unusual aggregation in Santa Barbara.
When it comes to sharks, it's all about size. Size matters, right? So bigger sharks are less afraid than smaller sharks.
If you were to wave a magic wand and make the sharks all go away, what effect would that have on the coastline?
I think it would be a catastrophe because the sharks are playing a critical role to keep the ocean clean. Anything that is hurt, damaged, or did not reproduce well enough or whatever, they're being eaten by the great white sharks or sharks in general.
Yeah.
That's their job, is to keep the ocean clean.
To find out what these sharks are up to, researcher Dr. Chris Lowe is putting acoustic tags on them to track their movements.
And if we detect them at the same place over and over, hour after hour after hour, that's telling us something about what habitats they're using relative to other places that we have receivers where we get no detections.
For years, sharks were killed with impunity. Legal protection has allowed their numbers to bounce back, though they are still at risk. People sharing the water with sharks are not in as much danger as you may think. But there are still animals that are bigger than humans. They're sharing water that's usually murky, and in poor visibility, mistakes can happen.
I don't think I'd want to be swimming around out here with these size sharks around.
With all the sharks just beyond the surf line, jumping into the water now requires a little bit more preparation.
Yeah, we see them everywhere.
Rylan Chase runs the Ocean Adventures Summer Beach Camp. Every day when the weather is warm, he teaches local kids water sports like surfing and sea kayaking.
Remember, sharks aren't there. They don't want to hurt you guys, but we do need to respect their space. So let's make sure we're listening for the whistle. Come in quick when you hear it. Go get them.
But you got a bit of company out here too.
We do have a bit of company, new company, something we haven't been totally experienced with in the last, 8 years that I've been here.
The great whites cast a shadow over a day of fun at the beach.
We'll see 2 or 3 or 4 swim by in a single day pretty commonly. It's more of a rare day that we don't see a shark now than we do.
It's like attending a summer camp with the big grizzly bears just a few feet away in the woods.
We've had to create some new procedures, beach to try and keep everybody safe, you know, to make it fun for everybody, to make sure the kids are respecting the sharks. In the past, we'd take kayaks way out, let the kids jump in and swim around. We've kind of had to eliminate a little bit of that from what we allow the kids to do, so we kind of keep the kids in shallower water. We've also added a stand-up paddleboarder out past the kids as a shark spotter.
Suddenly, the alarm is raised.
Hey, I see a fin! No, it's a dolphin, it's a dolphin.
False alarm, it's just a bottlenose dolphin. That's very common to the shoreline here and no threat to the campers. Sharks and dolphins both have dorsal fins, which could lead to that confusion, but the dorsals have different shapes. Dolphins also bob up and down in the water as they surface for air. The sharks just glide along underneath the water. Dolphins are too big and strong for these sharks to tangle with, but that doesn't mean that they don't interact.
Now look at what this guy is doing. He is following a pod of dolphins. That's unusual because normally these juvenile great whites are scared off by dolphins, but this guy is curious.
Despite their gentle nature, dolphins can be bold. When threatened, the entire pod will cooperate, work together, and ram a shark to drive it away. The next time a dorsal fin appears, there's no doubt who it belongs to.
There's a shark fin right over there.
Right over here? Oh my goodness.
Right there.
Yeah.
Let me go warn these guys. Lucas!
There's no messing about. The alarm is raised, those kids stop surfing, and they get to the beach as fast as possible.
We're gonna wait a few more minutes, make sure it's like out of the way, and then go back into the lesson.
Surfing with the sharks. Killing it, guys.
Jaws may have terrorized a generation of beachgoers, but for the kids today, innocence is bliss.
I've never been scared of sharks.
About 20 minutes later, it happens again.
So you just came out of there. What'd you see?
We didn't see anything. Yeah, we didn't see that guy saw a shark.
Oh, the guy's your spotter. Yeah.
The new reality of summers in Santa Barbara. This is the Great Whites Ocean, and they will decide how long we get to visit.
I mean, we're ultra cautious and we respect their space, but we found them to be pretty easy to coexist with. It makes you nervous, you know, it makes me nervous, but I just try to remember I'm in their territory. You know, I love the ocean. I'm gonna spend my life out there no matter what.
Paddleboarders have a unique perspective on the sharks. The extra height gained from standing up there allows them to see where the shark is going. But one slip and they could fall right on top of the great white.
Does it seem like there's more this year than there were before?
They're definitely more visible this year, especially to kind of beachgoers. I've been doing surf lessons down here for like 4 years and haven't seen as many as I have this year, that's for sure.
Even experienced paddleboarders can get freaked out by a close encounter.
5 feet away and like 1 foot of water.
Whoa.
Probably almost as big as my standard paddleboard.
Wow.
Yeah, that scared the crap out of me.
It's a natural thing to be scared by a great white shark, but it's important to remember that these young sharks in particular are not interested in attacking humans.
You just kind of get used to them and just kind of like seeing a dolphin or a seal, you know? Part of the ecosystem.
A dolphin or a seal with big, giant teeth.
Yeah, pretty much.
The good news is most locals are keeping this rise of apex predators in their midst in perspective.
This is a sign of health in the ocean. This is all the efforts of the last, 15 years coming to fruition.
Of conservation.
I think we should be. Yeah, I think we should be celebrating it.
Coming up, the sharks aren't here to feed on humans, so what are they eating?
I have seen more, and I've seen much larger ones this summer than I feel like I've seen in the past.
And once the tagging ends, the tracking begins.
When it's really loud, it's close. So look over the side and you hear that really loud sound because it might be chewing on my hydrophone. The beautiful coast of Santa Barbara, California, suddenly rife with young great white sharks.
But these sharks are sticking around much longer than usual. The question is why? Marine biologist Dr. Chris Lowe and his team are tagging the great whites. They want to understand more about their movements and their behavior.
Okay, nice and easy, Mike.
Straight ahead.
You got it? Nice and easy. Oh, spooked. Right here, that's bigger. That's much bigger. Right off this way, Mike. Coming back across your bow. Okay, still at 12, about 12:30. Coming up, nice and easy. You're doing good. We'll hold this course. Hold this course. Got it. That's a 10. That's a 10-foot shark, easy.
Okay, we got another one.
Whoa, there's another one. I can't believe how close they're coming. So right under the drone is where the sharks are. So we've got a bird's eye view up here. So they plot the drone right on top of us and we can get it. There he goes, there he goes.
Once again, when it's spooked, the shark doubles back on itself. And Dr. Lowe is waiting for it.
Let it come back up. Here she comes. She's coming up. Perfect. Hold this course, Mike. Perfect. Nice and easy. Got it.
Got him. Cool.
Probably a 10-footer. Good shot, right side.
That was 2 in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah. 2 unmarked sharks. So do the math.
Finding so many sharks so close together was a surprise for all of us.
20 years ago, if you'd asked me, could I go out to any beach in Southern California, just off the beach, and tag a white shark, I would have said you're crazy. But for the last 10 years, this is what it's been like, and the numbers are growing.
These sharks will fight off anything that may threaten their next meal. That includes other sharks. So how do so many of these juveniles coexist in the same place and still get enough food? It's a mystery researchers are trying to untangle.
So if you notice, they're not like side by side, but they are in a general area. So we know that there's probably a social component to it, but not like, hey, you're my buddy, I'm gonna stay right on your 6. I think it's more like they like being in a general area, and the question is that because of temperature? Is that because of food? Or there are some benefits of being in the same vicinity, but not being right next to each other.
To answer questions about predators, you really need to look at their prey. In Santa Barbara, sharks are known to gobble up the abundant round stingrays. But another reason for the great white hotspot here could be another type of stingray, one whose population has swelled in these waters, the bat ray.
This warm water event that we have was an unusual thing that scientists really hadn't seen before. So it can also then bring up different benthic species that live in the sandy environment that might attract juvenile white sharks to come into areas that maybe they weren't in before because now there's a higher abundance of food off our coast that maybe wasn't there before.
I have seen more, and I've seen much larger ones this summer than I feel like I've seen in the past.
The bat rays.
Yeah.
The food.
But I feel like the fishermen here on the wharf and us here at the Sea Center, we've seen more of them this summer than is typical.
Round stingrays tend to bury themselves in the sand, while bat rays will move quickly when threatened. It is possible that sharks are refining their advanced predation techniques on these more elusive meals. In this footage, a shark comes out of the water to snag a bat ray. It's an ambush tactic that the sharks will later use as adults on larger prey, animals like seals. The huge growth in the ray population, as well as the clustering behavior the white sharks display, helps to explain attacks like the one on Tyler McQuillan, spear fisherman who was grabbed from behind.
I believe that was a displacement behavior by the shark. Displacement behaviors are where the shark perceives something to be a threat. If you look at his videotape, you'll see him swimming along, and it gets to a point where about 15 feet in front of him, a small bat ray jumps up off the bottom and swims off. It flies away. 5 seconds later, all of a sudden the camera is sinking, it's falling around. The shark was following him. The shark had staked out that area, in my opinion, for food. Bat rays. When he encroached on this bat ray's territory, and it got up and left, swam off. The shark perceived that to be him hunting its food. So what does it do? It has to communicate to him to leave the area. It didn't try to bite him, it rammed him. And then it came back at him a third time, and that's when he stuck out the spear gun and poked it. That shark knew in the first bite he wasn't food. So that behavior was something other than food, feeding. That behavior was to get him to leave the area.
In other words, don't get between a shark and its prey.
And after the third event, he started swimming backwards, and that's when the shark stopped its advances and didn't come back at him anymore.
It helps to remember that most of the sharks are just in town to bask in the warmth and catch a few rays. Which is why, with some care, the threat of these sharks can be managed. Coming up, the sharks get their own theme music. So dat is one shark, and dat is another shark.
That's pretty much it.
The only way we're able to see all these sharks is with 6 cameras rolling at once, including this 360-degree camera seeing every angle. Got some VR goggles at home, scan your screen, and you'll be able to see this experience for yourself. We will be right back.
I'm with Dr. Chris Lowe and his team from the Shark Lab at Cal State Long Beach. We are tagging the great white sharks that have clustered in the area just off Santa Barbara, California, searching for an answer to the mystery. Why have so many young white sharks suddenly appeared and stayed on this glittering coastline?
I think it's pretty safe to say these homes are $25 to $65 million apiece. It goes on up from there.
Just a couple of football fields away, Dr. Lowe prepares his last tag.
Swimming around you. No problem.
Nice and easy. Nice and easy.
Straight ahead, straight ahead.
Keep coming. Nice and easy, Mike. Creep up on it. Got it.
Got it?
That's it. We're done.
Right on.
That was about a 9-footer, and that was on the right side.
It has been an amazing day. Half a dozen white sharks have brand new acoustic tags attached to their dorsal fins. Now they can be tracked underwater through receiving stations Dr. Lowe has placed offshore.
So this is the hydrophone.
I can kind of hear it if I tap on it. Yeah.
Exactly. So if you rub your finger, hear that?
Yeah.
So it's actually picking up that sound.
Yeah.
Right? So not radio, all sound.
It's not a microphone either.
No, it's actually a hydrophone. So it's using a crystal, and it's vibrating when it detects the sound vibration through the water. That converts that to an electric signal, which outputs it here to a sound we can hear.
So we can actually hear the sharks that we just tagged?
Yeah, and it'll give us the ID number. So let's listen.
I lower the hydrophone about 5 feet into the water.
So dut is one shark, and dut is another shark.
That's pretty much it. And that's how it's doing it.
They have their own song.
Kind of. Yeah, exactly.
The transmitters have a range of about 300 yards, so anytime a shark swims close enough to that receiver, its position is logged.
So when it's really loud, boom, 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 it means it could be literally right at the side of the boat. So look over the side when you hear that really loud sound, because it might be chewing on my hydrophone. That's close. So that was number 1352. And that shark's probably within 100 yards of the boat right now. Okay, so that's 37963.
37963, but if you look in your database, you can say, oh, that's a female, and she's 11 feet long.
Yep.
So no 2 tags are alike?
Yes.
It's a fingerprint for the sharks.
Exactly. This is like Easy Pass. You know when you drive down the toll road and you have the thing in your windshield, and it tells you how many times you drove down that road, and you get a bill at the end of the month?
Yeah.
This technology works exactly the same way, except for sharks. The only difference is I get the bill.
Now that the tags are pinging away, Dr. Lowe will periodically check with the receivers to gauge the white shark's movement. There are roughly 120 receivers along the Southern California coast. They have more up north and they have more down in Mexico. Any of them can pick up the signals from Dr. Lowe's tags.
Now, right now, they have to physically go to these receivers to find out how many sharks are in the area. In the future, maybe they'll be able to hook it up with a cell buoy that would send the data back to the city so they'd know there's 100 sharks here, there's 50 sharks there, there's 20 over here.
With no more tags, Dr. Lowe's expedition is over, but the interpretation of that data has only just begun. Maybe they'll be able to answer the big question. Are these sharks here to stay?
I'm really excited to learn more from Chris's research just the last couple days here, because I think through photo ID and through tagging, we're going to learn a lot about the behavior of the young sharks.
Several months after the tagging, the data revealed that most of the sharks have moved on from Santa Barbara. When Dr. Lowe checked the receivers, there was very little activity. So does this mean that the warming effect is worn off, or more natural migration patterns are back? Southern California sharks often travel to the waters off Mexico, and one of the sharks tagged by Dr. Lowe off Santa Barbara, number 1352, a 9-footer, was picked up by a receiver in Vizcaíno Bay. It's just one data point, but a strong indicator that the sharks went south just like they did before the warming trend. Which raises another question for the residents of Santa Barbara. Will the sharks return, or will they find another California coastline to call home? Only time and further research will answer that. What is for sure is the residents of the area have found a new appreciation for these majestic creatures.
Well, I think what's really special here is being close to Santa Barbara, and we might have one of the healthier populations of white sharks right off our coast here, is really exciting for people to really take pride.
Well, for 30 years, we've had unfettered access to the ocean. We use it as our playground. We have to understand, now that those predators are coming back, we have to learn how to share the ocean with them again, and how to do that safely.
And as we come to understand these species that live here, especially sharks, we suddenly realize that they're important to us. And the healthier their population is, the healthier ours is.
Just got to keep an eye out for them.
That's right. You got to keep your feet out of the water. That's all.
We started this project thinking if we were lucky, we'd see 1 or 2 great whites. We now know they are absolutely everywhere out there. So as technology increases and the fear goes down, some of those mysteries will unlock as we venture into the shark zone. For the Weather Channel Explorers, I'm Dave Malcolm.